What are you guys doing to prepare for the grant funding?
Well, so we've been doing a lot of research, trying to understand the guidance that's come out so far. There's still a fair amount of guidance that's expected in the coming months. We've actually got a lot of programs that are already in flight that I think we can leverage to move Oklahoma forward in terms of the requirements for this grant program. Things like the Oklahoma Information Sharing and Analysis Center, some of the other outreach functions that we've created, I think is going to help us build out the appropriate membership on the planning committee. Obviously, we already have a security strategic plan for the state. I think we can repurpose that for more of a whole of government approach and get that in front of the committee and get it in front of CISA. And I think we're going to be in a pretty decent place when the final guidance comes out. You've got to take more of a proactive approach to it. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. But we'll see when the guidance actually comes out. I think the initial idea was it was coming out earlier this summer. Now it sounds like it might be a little bit later.
Right. So in addition to that potential time crunch, what are the other challenges you foresee for getting that funding?
Well, and I think a lot of states are going to see this. Everyone's excited about the funding that's coming in that's earmarked specifically for cybersecurity. It's easy to overlook the state obligations that come with that in terms of the matching funds, and they do require new funds to be identified to do that match. So you're going to have a few states that are going to be working overtime to try to get through the legislative bodies to get appropriations set or find other sources of funding to cover that. And then, that is a pretty quick turnaround time if you're looking at actually dispersing the funds from the grant before the end of the fiscal year, the federal fiscal year. You might be looking at less than 90 days to actually get through that entire process.
Right. But that's doable?
Anything's doable. You show us what the requirements are, we'll get creative and we'll figure out how to make it happen.
Right. The bad actors would make it happen, right?
Absolutely. They're teaming up. It's nice to see the federal government stepping in and provide some incentives for us to actually team up across states, and then especially with the localities and the tribal governments. Let's all pull together, and you've heard cybersecurity is a team sport, right?
I've heard that once or twice before,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, so more generally, are you guys working on anything interesting, noteworthy?
We have a few things in flight. Oklahoma went through a period of tremendous change during the pandemic. The state leadership gave us the opportunity to really reinvest in what we were doing around cybersecurity. We wound up replacing our entire technology stack in the span of about 18 months, completed 38 large-scale cybersecurity initiatives. So we're going to spend a lot of time over the next 12 months really maturing. We went through and acquired a lot of new tools and actually have been hiring a ton of new talent into Oklahoma Cyber Command. It's time to start aligning both of those resources together so we can have a really effective defense and actually offensive strategy for the state. So we're going to focus on maturation. Obviously, as we have opportunities that pop up, we're going to continue to increase the cybersecurity posture for the state. But it's the basics, right? Basic blocking and tackling to put the state in a much better cybersecurity footing.
Right. In terms of recruiting people, do you have the same workforce challenges that a lot of other state IT leaders report?
There's a couple of key roles that have been difficult to fill, but by and large, folks want to come work in cybersecurity. They see there's a lot of future and opportunities for growth, and so those entry-level positions are actually fairly easy to fill in Oklahoma. It's the more senior engineering type positions that we still struggle with a little bit. So we lean on our industry partners wherever we can to help fill those gaps, or even to help us generate some leads to fill those positions internally.